All right, guys. I want to say thank you for joining today. We are going to continue our trek on
Finally go for that.
prospecting. On sorry, I'm gonna mute you guys. On the opportunity to learn how to prospect, learn how to build your book of business. So for those who missed last week, we really talked about setting up a schedule, setting up a cadence, understanding how to work in your network. And really it's all about discipline. So a lot of people don't realize it's just the simple things that can help you grow your business. So today we're going to continue this trek. This is kind of like baby steps for those who are coming to the National Summit. It's a good way to kind of be prepared, having some prospects ready, see what kind of solutions are available as you come. If not, what I would also say is schedule a time with me after we go through some things like this. I'll also have some takeaways, some sheets, and some things that are available for you as well to kind of utilize in your day-to-day practice. So today we're going to talk about prospecting. Here is the agenda. Okay, so we want to get into this prospecting mindset where most agents end up failing, and really how you won't. And that's going to be a big thing. It's always about mindset, about structure, process. There's a lot of people in our industry who will fly by the seat of their pants, and they end up, opening up a lot of connections and just never following up, or they want to learn everything so they don't screw up any possible opportunity. That also actually hurts you more than helps you. So we'll talk about prospecting mindset, five typical channels that you would look for prospecting. And then, really, again, this is all about awareness, growth. So, we want to set up some daily non negotiables. So, habits to help you grow your pipeline. Some little scripts, nothing like outlandish or crazy, but something to just kind of get you moving in the right direction. And once again, some prep if you are going to be here for the summit. So, what we want to start with is every conversation you avoid is a family you didn't protect. Okay. So a lot of times agents are waiting for the phone to ring. They have like their network, their internal network, and as I mentioned, when you skip the follow-up or someone rejects you, all of a sudden you take it as a personal insult and you think that they're hurting your feelings. Um, I will tell you right now, my feelings have been hurt several times in this industry. But the fact is, and I'll tell you right now, I had a case I was working on for a year and a half, and it would have been a $30 million case for about 900,000 in target premium. And on the last day, the client says, "I don't want it." Okay, never had the money. Sucks, but you got to move forward and continue moving. So if I've had a big issue like that one, anything less than that, I hope you understand that it does happen. Yeah, was I mad? Sure, I was mad, but I had to keep moving. Otherwise, you're kind of dead in the water. So again, every conversation you avoid is a family you didn't protect. Every phone call you're afraid to make is a no already because you're not actually making the attempt to call the person. So you have to think if it's a no, you understand it's a no, but we also know based on our conversation from last week that usually the connection happens after the fifth time. So you don't want to be the person who does it three times or four times, and then the fifth time you gave up, so someone else calls them, and all of a sudden they want to do something. So, when you look at the reality, top producers prospect every single day, not because they love it, but you have to keep filling up your pipeline. So, this you can also say from an agency mindset. So, those of you who are building an agency, also, how do you continue to keep recruiting? How do you keep growing your business? Mentor of mine said one time, he's like, if you are in the business of recruiting and growing your agency, you just have to find one person dumb enough to like you every single day to want to join your company. Jokes aside, of course, but it's true. How do you continue finding people? You have to get out there. You have to, put yourself out there for other people and hopefully grow in that opportunity. And really, you're backed by Valor. So VFS, Valor Financial Specialists. We have over 600 agents here, proven carriers, proven track record, training system. Really the thing is that I want to make sure that you're here every step of the way. We have agency affiliates who have their teams, but understand that, I'm here too. So you can book an appointment anytime, and that is your time to utilize. So that's the most important part. So why agents fail at prospecting? So they have no system in place. Prospect when they feel like it, not on a schedule, and consistency kills pipelines. I mean, that's one of the biggest things right there is, so what type of system do you have in place right now? These are all, rhetorical questions, but questions nonetheless for you to think about. What type of system do you have in place? Fear of rejection, probably one of the biggest ones that I've seen. I know it's treated like you did something wrong, like someone doesn't like you. It's just that they don't think that that's the source for them right now. Despite what you may think, you may be very passionate about what you're selling. The problem is that they don't see the value in it right now. It doesn't mean they won't see it later. Sometimes it's too late, but guess what? That's another story for you for a conversation so other people don't make that same mistake. Okay. Maybe it's the wrong audience. And this is something that I've noticed a lot is that when people are trying to pitch to everybody, they end up being a jack of all trades, master of none. So what I tell people is that, where my strengths lie is business owners and estate planning. That's where I want to be in my conversations is business owners and estate planning. You get what you ask for. So if you're going to run around saying, and this is no offense to anybody, but if you run around saying, I just want to sell final expense because it's easy, then you're going to be stuck in that final expense world and it'll be hard to break out of it. And you have to expand your focus in your conversation, but really, when you say pitching everyone instead of focusing on ideal clients, the big thing is I like to work smarter, not harder. So if I find a vein or a source like business owners who might have business expense issues or retirement issues from the business side, but then they also have personal, you now have multiple ways to approach someone. Yeah, thank you, Nana. I agree with you wholeheartedly. You have a great niche, however you want to say it. My kids get mad at me when I say niche, but a great niche in regards to the ideal clients that you're looking for. Obviously, it's no surprise that I work with different multiculturals, and sometimes you have more of a feeling of comfort working inside your culture. Perfectly fine. You should take advantage and leverage the reasoning why you want to do that and expand on that and grow. And like I said a few times already, 80% of the sales happen after the fifth follow-up. What I say to everybody is just because someone hasn't said no yet, that's an open invitation for you to continue trying. Whether it's a touch point or whatever, the idea is that you want to make sure that they still know you're there. Now, can you do that through email, text, phone call? You might see them around, all of those different things. You just want to make sure that you're relevant and available, social media, all of that stuff. So what we look at are the five prospecting channels. So activate all five, start with one and work your way up. There's no wrong way to do this. It's really what you feel is most comfortable for you. So we look at different referral opportunities. We look at different opportunities, referrals being the first one. So we'll dive in a little deeper on that. Warm market, family, friends, former colleagues. This is where a lot of people often start. Doesn't mean it's the right thing, doesn't mean it's the wrong thing. Social media that can get your presence out there on a national scale, as opposed to just locally. So if you want to go more national, you have to have a targeted focus for that. Networking events, this is a great one. So I love talking about networking events. And then even cold calls. What do you have to lose, right? So these are the five areas where you can really consider prospecting, good ways to get in front of people. So we'll dive in first with referrals, okay? And this is actually from the Wharton School of Business. You are four times more likely to close a warm prospect or a referral than a cold prospect. So, how do you turn cold prospects into warm prospects or referrals? You ask at the right moment. So, if I were to provide a solution to a problem that you may have, and in doing so, you are excited for this purchase or for whatever need we fulfilled, at that time, your emotion is high, you're very happy with the outcome. So, how wrong is it to say, well, I'll pick on you, Nana, because I see you. Nana, I truly loved working with you, and I really appreciate the opportunity to serve you and your family. Is there someone that you may know that might also have something along the lines that we discussed that would be worth having a conversation with? And if so, do you mind if I, reach out to them and say you said I could? So we'll have a little text template, I believe, here on one of the later slides. But the idea is that you want to remove the friction. You want to turn these people into an open intro and even coach your client to, because they're going to reach out. So let's say I reach out to Nana. Nana says nothing, but I have, Chris. I say, hey, Chris, do you mind just calling Nana and telling him that I'm going to call him or whatever to coach and say, hey, it's worth the conversation. It's worth the opportunity. So that's how you spread out and you branch in your local market. If you do it right from the standpoint of referrals, after about, let's say, 3 to 5 years, and there's a strategic reason why I say that time frame, you will have people calling you. You will stop having to call out to people because you will get your network being your referral process. Most people don't last past 2 years in the insurance industry because they run out of their warm market. So we want to expand upon that and really get you moving in the right direction with the referral process and asking the question every single time you close. Speaking of warm market, so this is your biggest untapped asset, and it's a network you already have. So you have your phone contacts. Everyone you've talked to at some point or another can be considered a warm market. Now, what I would say is that this is a good place to start. Everyone typically starts here. You could even think about the standpoint of if you've ever worked for New York Life, Northwestern, any type of career shop, what do they do first? Write down your 100 list, your 100 list. So anybody put them on there, and then we'll talk about it. There's a reason why these industries have been around, have been successful for so long. This actually works. So, and even me, I had a conversation with my former regional vice president when I was an internal at MetLife. My regional VP, he went to Edward Jones, and he's like, Phil, I got to do a training call. I'm going to call you in about an hour. Someone else will be on the line. They're going to listen and make sure I do my pitch. And they wanted me to sign up with Edward Jones, and they wanted me to buy a mutual fund or whatever. So in that conversation, he told me what he was doing, but then he still came back and did the pitch. And I would not be surprised, for me, I fiscally wasn't ready to do that, but from the standpoint of if you call someone up and you're in your network, hey, so and so, I just want to call and just see if I could borrow your ear for a minute. I just started working in the insurance industry. Man, I've learned so much about it. It's amazing. I wanted to see if I could practice my pitch on you to see if this makes sense. And you know what happens? They're going to ask you questions. You're going to have to rebuttal, come back, and all of a sudden they could potentially see that as an opportunity. Okay. If not, you're sharpening your knife, sword, skills, in the context of giving you a better opportunity with potential new customers. LinkedIn is a great place to use as a memory jogger. You could go through your connections there. Facebook is another good one too. So when you think about where you're at in your life, people at 40 and above, we typically like Facebook more than Instagram and the Tic Tacs because that's what we grew up with. But there are different places where you can go and find your warm market. But write them down, and most importantly, with all of this, have your mentor, your person that you look out for or look to in these scenarios, go through the clients with you. Give me more information about the client. And oftentimes, as people start to do their conversations with potential clients, I tell people you want to start with the people who are okay with you making mistakes first. Don't go for that because you might have been lured in by grandeur and big sales opportunities. Well, don't go in and say, "All right, now that I got the license, I'm going to call that person and I'm going to write this big case." And then you miss, you whiff, and all of a sudden that's a dead opportunity, and you're sitting there going like, "Why did I get this license?" That's why most people quit. So work your initial people being the ones who you can make the most mistakes with at first. That'll be the best way to approach that. So, channel three, we talk social media prospecting. So, turn your feed into a lead generation engine. So, LinkedIn, best for professionals, business owners, high income targets. So, what you want to do is this is not going to be something that you will get engagement right away. Okay. So, if you have a LinkedIn right now and you haven't posted anything, I would start with a 30, 60, or 90-day track of posting, say, every other day or, twice a week to the extent that you have content that when you start reaching out to people, they can see that you've been proactive. Okay. So, business owners, a great place to be. There's a lot of opportunities. I've already said it. High income targets. LinkedIn has a lot of reference places. And crazy enough as it is, I have been on several calls recently where I see that the person who I'm about to have a phone call with checks my LinkedIn profile before we get on the call. If you want to have a touch up or a look at your LinkedIn to see if it's up to snuff, once again, I am always here to help you grow. So let me know how I can support from that standpoint. So is LinkedIn more of an informational posting platform? It can and it can't be. Like, yes, you can post informational stuff there, but for example's sake, you'll see people who have changed their jobs. Why does that matter? Okay. Hey, I was at this job for 10 years. So I might write them a personal message, say, hey, Dina, congratulations on your new job. Let me ask you, did you have a prior 401k at your old job? Did you know there's fees, 1 to 3% that continue to accumulate on that? If I could show you a way to reposition those assets where there's no fees and you still have upside growth potential, would you be interested? So it is informational, yes, but there are people who will post anything from a either collegiate graduation, a promotion, things like that. So you can see as people are progressing, is that a time or opportunity to send them a message? So you build your LinkedIn connections though by connecting with 10 new people a day. You don't have to say anything yet to them, but it opens your network. And as people like your posts, then your network grows too. LinkedIn is very interesting like that. Facebook, that's why I say, to me, that's the best platform for my market. So I have my personal page and I have a business page. So the business page, the design of the business page, informative updates in the industry, maybe Happy New Year, whatever. And then the personal page is where I get a little, creative. What I will warn you guys about in the Facebook and the Instagram marketplaces is that you want to make sure that out of 10 messages, nine of them are designed to be anecdotal, entertaining, and then one might be the ask because people go on social media to be entertained. They have, like you see a short video in the Instagram 30-second reels. Most people last about 8 seconds. So you have to think of something catchy, something that will, make them acquire the, reason to continue reading or reason continue watching and engagement. So you'll see people on Facebook who will say, who's had, this X, Y, or Z, comment below. And then it engages people to go in there. And believe it or not, you'll see that the more engagement you get on your Facebook, the more people now see it as well. So it grows too, based on the fact that if you have content, you have people to talk to. Now, I will not brag too much about this, but I do get paid by Facebook for content. $7, so it's awful. But the idea is that if you post engaging stuff, you create a ecosystem. Basically, Facebook wants people to stay on Facebook. Right. So if you create engaging content to keep people motivated and excited, and you're doing almost like a forum, like they used to do in the good old days, like forum posting, it's the same thing on Facebook. So if you like what I do is I opine on stuff in the life insurance groups. Some may call me a jerk. Sometimes I try and get kicked out of those groups by saying things that I say, but really it's because they're riddled with a lot of misinformation. And so I feel, you know, inclined to share my opinion. But what does it do? It creates brand awareness. There are plenty of people who say there's no bad brand awareness, right? So people are talking, people are seeing you. Same thing with Facebook, just don't be like, malicious, I guess you would say. So that's a big thing. So yes, in Instagram, short video does reign, 30-second reels. So what does life insurance do? Folks, we do have chat, we have Claude, we have other ways to help you build out a brand video. Throw something up. It does not have to be perfect, but it does increase people's visibility. I mean, how many times do you see people just scrolling all day? They call it doom scrolling, but people will scroll to find entertainment. So if you can be entertaining, if you can be beneficial and advantageous for them, you'll get more watches, more likes, more comments. I mean, my personal Instagram, which I don't post on a lot, is called Monotone Magic. As you can see why. It's the idea is to entertain people, to give them, a funky name to kind of cling to, and then continue from there. So hopefully someday it'll catch on. So networking. This is a big one. So I would say if you can find 2 events per week, that would be a huge, huge opportunity for you. So when you think about the different types of opportunities you can go, it's all just a spot to network. You would be amazed by the people you meet at these networking events. But also, this is going to sound really crazy, but if you want to pick the right type of clientele, there is no problem in you soliciting at places like high-end restaurants. So if you sit at the bar and you just, hold a cocktail, you don't have to drink it. But if you hold a cocktail, you got a nice watch, you got a nice, suit on or something like that, and you just start engaging with people there, that might cost you 20, $30. You're just sitting there enjoying the atmosphere and you're just talking to whoever is in there. So something like that, as stupid as it sounds, I know for a fact one of our business partners, who's also an investment advisor, landed a Chick-fil-A owner. who is there as well. And Chick-fil-A owners make anywhere between 250,000 to 500,000 a year. They're all private franchise owners. So that's how you can build your network, something like that. I know Kathy, you put in Chamber of Commerce, so that is a way to network too. Now you're going to find some like BNI. There's always an insurance person in there. Can you get in? Absolutely. But what value proposition are you going to bring to them? So chamber mixers, church groups, gym communities, things like that are very, very, very important to kind of monitor and see how you can build yourself up. Um, Now, with the groups like this, other ways you can approach it. So, say you're very active in your church, you want to provide free financial literacy courses. So you're providing a networking event, a free course for someone to, come see and hopefully purchase an opportunity. Same thing if you have a local community, an outreach center, something like that. So if you're very passionate about giving in your time, you'll be able to also utilize this as a way to grow your network. Okay. I network all the time because my kids are in sports. So I'll have my kids who will just be going playing lacrosse, and I'll shoot the breeze with the people next to me. Because I have no filter, I'll say something dumb and people will laugh. And then all of a sudden, there's an engaging conversation afterwards to just kind of, oh, who's your kid? Who's your kid? Oh, what do you do? What do you do? And you go through the formal pleasantries. So if you don't have the blessing of having kids, let me know. I'll send them your way and you can take them. They're 17 and 14, pre-loved, good condition, potty trained. So I'll give you some good conversation starters. Um, but again, if you go to these events, the worst thing you could be is a wallflower. So do not go to these events and just sit there and swirl your glass and just say, "Hey, I went to an event because Phil told me to." Make it impactful. See if you can talk to at least five or six people there. There's no such thing as a bad conversation. There's no such thing as, growing a relationship or finding out you never want to talk to that person again. But you take away something with every conversation for sure. Uh, when you say introduce yourself with what you do, I never say I sell insurance. I'm a financial services professional. So what do? I help solve problems that people didn't know they had. I know Kathy, you're putting in the comments there about a 702 plan. It's a 7702 plan. So that's the tax code for a LIRP, a life insurance retirement plan. People get cheeky about saying things like that. If I can, and when you think about most business owners, just not to say that that's a bad way of doing it, but if I were a business owner, I care more about tax deductions. I care about in December when my CPA at the last week says, "Hey, you have to put, $50,000 away into this so you can get tax deductions." So if I have, for example's sake, a plan to do that, that gives you tax deductions and it can incorporate life insurance, and then I can help you position it so it becomes tax-free later, that's a better story. Um, and I don't know why you would trade. I don't know why you would trademark a 702 plan. Um, I don't see the benefit in that. We could talk about that later. So that's interesting. Um, but yeah, so for me, when I go into events, I talk about I'm a financial services professional. You could also say, like, if they say, how long have you been in the business? Whether it's been 1 week, 1 year, 5 years, it's well, just less than 10 years. You're not lying. But once you hit the marker, like me, I'm at 20 now, so it obviously sounds cool. If cool, but in context, if you're still within less than 10 years, just say you've been in the industry for a little less than 10 years, they're not going to purge further and be like, exactly how many years? Because no one really cares that much. So just kind of use that in context, but don't go too crazy. Cold outreaches. This is probably the reason why I put it last is I'm not a big fan of it because you should be able to make your mark with the other ones. But if you like the idea of target dialing, you want to find people in your range. Once again, you can do this in a couple ways. So if you have Google and you say, businesses in my local area, and you can put the zip code in, it'll give you businesses. You want to reach out to them, say, as a business owner there, I'd like to talk to them about ways that I can help them reduce taxes. I'd like to talk to them about ways that I can help with retirement planning and things like that. So the hard part is that you are going to get rejected a lot more than you would in a warm market. So you have to really have that thick skin. So, with that being said, it is a lot tougher, but it's what we would call a shotgun blast versus a rifle shot. And so you're trying to catch whoever will come to you. You can use this on social media too. If you create ads, you can build out a rapport through that, but you want to make sure as people answer, you have something that you have as a script. Being in the industry for so long, I don't really use scripts because I like to ask a lot of questions. As you ask questions, you uncover and you peel back the onion of what these people are really made of. You understand them better and you grow based on the conversation. So I'm not a big script first person. I have a couple bullet points, that I'll show you that we have. But, in this channel, you can text, you can, instant message or direct message. I always think DM sounds weird, but you can message on Instagram, Facebook, or whatever to kind of mix it up a little bit. But it is a harder market to prospect in. And again, it's just being persistent. So as long as you're persistent, you could see the fruits of your labor in cold outreach. Some people thrive on it because they don't care. They can say whatever they want because they know the person is just gonna they get too close to like in that scenario they'll just say whatever they want and it won't bother them because a no is a no, they just move on. So if you have thick skin and you don't mind doing that, if you like going to door and just kind of reaching in and talking to people too, by all means, go with God. So what we talk about for non-negotiables, okay, so kind of moving into how you work your pipeline. So the biggest thing is you want to review your pipeline, the prospects that you want to talk to every morning. Okay. Let's be honest, everyone gets caught up in emails. You're going to have a ton of emails all the time. There's always something else that you can do. But if you regiment yourself, use 10 minutes to get your prospect list set up, how you want to follow up with them, and how you want to start booking appointments, then you make at least 10 outbound calls and contacts in the morning. You are more likely able to contact and connect with someone around 9 in the morning than you are in the afternoon. That is a fact because and even me, so like I'll be doing some meetings and then I'll get text messages and then I'll get more emails and more text messages and I get bogged down by the end of the day, so everything becomes foggy. So you have more focus, more opportunity to do those proactive calls in the morning and then focus on your follow-up appointments in the afternoon. You want to get in touch with the people that you're going to set up a meeting with. Hey, I just wanted to confirm that we have an appointment tomorrow. This is what we're going to talk about, and just make sure that we're still on for that. Social media post engagements, you could do a couple things. So you can do that in the afternoon to kind of get your feelers out there again. Might lead into some pipeline activity the next day. Or you can set up your calendar to put your social media stuff up for the month. And then what you see here, like and comment on 5 others' posts. So you might not care about that one person you're commenting on, but you're caring about the rest of the network that they have there. So it just makes sense. So the more you network from that standpoint too, the more people see you, the more familiar they're going to be. All of a sudden you get friend requests and other stuff like that. Like I've seen people who have posted these videos and it's like hey, the 4% rule will give you 40,000, but if you put in a fixed index annuity, it'll give you 80,000 in guaranteed income. And I'll just reply in the comments, this information is completely misleading. You didn't give the age of a client, you didn't give the total amount or this and that. And, I've gotten people who have asked me comments based off of that, friend requests and stuff like that too. So it happens. Okay. And then you want to just kind of spend the last 5 minutes of your day reflection, understanding what you went through, and then seeing if there's any ways you want to improve it. And I'm sure throughout that timeline and process, you'll have follow-ups, emails, things like that too. So you could say, at 2 p.m., I hope it doesn't take you 3 hours to do 5 comments and posts. So as you can see here, you get through your contacts and then you have your email, then you have your whatever. But at least this gives you a timeline and structure for your day. Pipeline math. You got to throw 100 people into the funnel to get 40 appointments. 40 appointments lead to 20 presentations, 8 applications, and I would say 6 issued, maybe even 4. So depending on the type of cases you're looking at. So can 6 policies per month at about $4,000, so that's 24 grand, or 25 grand, it says it down below, in the system. And then out of nowhere, you're just going to keep progressing and growing. I misappropriated that 20% payout thing, so completely ignore that. Scripts that open doors. So word for word openers. So, hey, it's Phil. I know we haven't talked in a while. Wanted to reach out because I recently started working with a company that helps families protect their income and build wealth through life insurance. You could even say through wealth strategic plans. I'm not calling to sell you anything. I just want to see if it might be worth a 15-minute conversation. Do you have time? Action step, Tuesday or Thursday. If you choose to not give an action step of a location or time, you are going to lose because they'll say, not really. But if you say, okay, Tuesday or Thursday, I say neither of those days work for me. Okay, does Wednesday or Friday work for you? Okay, and you try and dial it in. But if you don't get an action step, you're going to miss. So you have to make sure you always close with an action step. And you guys can see the rest of them here, so I don't want to belabor the point. Handling early objections, I'm not interested. Again, it takes about 5 times to get through. Could that happen on the same call? Possibly. Totally understand. Most people I work with said the same thing before we talked. I'm not here to sell you anything. If just 15 minutes, I can show you what we do, let you decide what's the worst that can happen. Um, or you could talk about it from an education standpoint. Are you doing this from an education standpoint? I want you to understand that things have changed in the industry. Maybe you have some type of coverage that is outdated and there's a better price point now. I already have insurance. Well, that's a great opportunity for a policy review. I work with people all the time who have insurance. It doesn't mean that it's not the right thing or the wrong thing, but if I could give you a free 15-minute review of your policy, whatever, that's the door opener. I can't afford it right now. It's always the worst one. I hear that a lot. What I find is most people are actually spending money on protection that isn't working as hard as it could. Can I show you something that might change how you think about it? We could always use the financial needs analysis fact finder. I sent that in the email, I think over the weekend. So the financial needs fact finder, that gives you all the questions you can ask to find the money. So if the objection is they can't afford it, guess what? You're probably paying, $80,000 a year in cable bills, right? So everyone has these different streaming services. So the big thing is build your prospect list now. We want to get you kind of moving in the right direction. What could we think about? Family and close friends, coworkers, employers, former or current business owners. That's a huge opportunity. Community connections, social media connections. Write down the names. Again, I encourage you that if you want to, set up a time with me. It's just appointments.valorfs, like financialspecialist.com. And what I would say is we can go over your list and see what makes sense. I put the link in the chat. It is an open website for you to go to. It links right to my calendar of available times. Track everything. I tell you, it's so important. If you don't track it, you're going to forget it. We're so busy moving forward, we figure what's behind us. And so the most important thing is you have a new lead, you want to put them in your system. If you have a CRM system, that's important. If you don't, Excel is a CRM system until you get one. I would recommend using a CRM system because you can log notes in there, you can set reminders for yourself, and it can become the spot for you to do all your prospecting. And you can also send emails from them. You can send text messages, like you guys probably all got a text message from me saying, "Hey, get in here, we started." That came from my CRM system. So it's the easiest way to send out 600 text messages. Um, it sucks when you get the unsubscribes, but it's par for the course. Um, Take notes, understand, like I have this little guy. It's called the Remarkable. It is remarkable. You can set up a sheet for each customer, client. You can use that and take notes, copious notes about your conversation, and then put those notes in your system, however you want to do it. But if you do not have a process, you do have a process. It's just a really bad one. Um, so just don't fly by the seat of your pants. Make a strategic approach to get people in the pipeline. You know, work with intention, networking, as we mentioned, meaningful conversations. Don't just walk around and, and tell people you sell life insurance. 7-day prospecting sprint. This is once again where I can help. So if you want to build out a plan, a strategic opportunity, how we can help you grow, I am here for you. Um, I don't I don't I don't reach out to people because I have people reaching out to me. So that's why I gave you the link. I want to meet people halfway. So if they want that opportunity for support, I'm there to support them, but I need to meet you need to meet me halfway. So if you're coming to Nashville, have this list ready. So as we go through different products, sales ideas, solutions, strategies, you have the ability to monitor and open up that to see if it's worth a shot for your clients, because we'll talk about a lot of things. Um, and just remember, top producers, they work differently. You have to ask yourself, how much do you want to get out of this? How much do you want to make? And by doing so, again, the top people they prospect at the beginning of the day before 10 a.m. Get referrals, follow up relentlessly, and again, track everything. So, what I did, just to let you know, is I also added, I created these just earlier today. And these are available too. I'm going to show them here kind of rapid fire. So just give me 1 second as I pull them up. But I made these like notes and opportunities for you guys to utilize. So this is the first one. Choose your right channel. How to work in these type of markets. What can you get out of them? What avenue do you want to go? So kind of like a handout or of what we just talked about. Match your prospect to the right channel. So business owners, prospect type, you want a referral network, LinkedIn, maybe a cold call, find a product fit, things like that. So you can build your mix, track your data, using different networks and ways to do it. Um, so prospecting cadence, once again, we talked about how to log calls, how to just kind of stay in your lane and work on that. Can you do social media in the beginning of the day for an hour or a half hour? Call blocks. So there's different ways that you can do it. We have objection handlers, so a couple things that you could utilize: email, LinkedIn, referral sources, stuff like that. And then the prospect list. So this is just a list to make it easier. So name of the client, address, phone number, email, check a box on what they want. Do you want to do a policy review, income, sale, death benefit? Do they have kids? Do they have a mortgage? Do they need a retirement plan? Stuff like that. So, no, no, I'll see it. So stuff like that is, at your fingertips. I'll add this stuff to the newsletter. But if you want it, and you don't want to wait for the newsletter, I'm going to put my email in the chat. So phil@valorfs.com. But once again, the idea here is I'm trying to set you guys up with things that can help you get moving in the right direction. I can't make you drink. I can lead you to water, but I can't make you drink. So really, it's up to you how far you want to take this. But just understand from Valor's standpoint, from what we do here, my goal is to help you be the best trained, bar none, the best way to help you in growing your practice. So if there are suggestions, other things that you'd like me to ever go over, cover, feel free to email me those suggestions too, because I'm always open for any suggestions. And we have about 7 minutes left. So does anybody have any questions? Um, I saw one from Dina. Do you need a personal and business Facebook page? No, you don't. You can have one. Kathy, what's your question?
Well, I wanted to get your opinion about what your thoughts about joining back to the chamber, because I really got a lot of contacts and they were very interested in the 702S plan. But now that I have more tools in my belt, like offering Keyman uh, policies or bonus plans,
Buy sells, all that
401k.
stuff. Mhm.
So I think that would be more advantageous for a business owner to get them to offer them something.
Thousand
Um,
percent. Yep.
so
I
um,
I think when you do that too, yes, I would say do it. It's good to have. But in that same context, right? So as you talk to people, we build custom plans to help you retire the way you deserve, rather than the typical way the government is going to have you retire. Okay. Well, what does that mean? Well, most people, like I talked to some business owners, yesterday. Two guys, construction guys, they only have an IRA. They're only putting 7,500 away per year. And I said, "Do you guys know that as business owners, and there's only two of you, you could do 25% of your income in a set plan and you could put more away?" Oh, I didn't know that. They were limited by scope, right?
right,
So the idea in execution is, hey, we should do a 401k with a profit sharing plan and a 412(e)(3). That's going to cost way too much. Okay, well, I'm selfish too. Maybe you just want to do something like a 7702 plan, LERP, whatever, because you can do that for yourself. It's after tax dollars. You can pull it out tax free, put in as much as you want, and it's a different avenue. But the way you do it, though, is you go in with the intention of what's going to hit them most from that emotional standpoint. Most business owners, present company included, is constantly looking for tax deductions. How
right,
can I get more tax deductions? So you're just air traffic control based on your questions. Oh, this guy wants higher deductions. Let's talk about this. This guy doesn't sound like he does. Well, we can slightly mention that. However, I think this might make more sense for you. And push them. So if you go in with one plan, you're pigeonholing yourself. But if you go in as a strategic planner, so
exactly.
that's the big thing.
And they had a lot of mixers. I mean, they had a lot of events to go to, um, which was nice, getting in front of a lot
Yeah.
of different people.
Yeah. And that's what you're gonna do. So yeah, I think that's a good thing. Um, Angela, I saw your question about a CRM. I'll just tell you what I have. So I use the Lyft platform. Lyft is a form of Go High Level. So it's really easy. So I get all my contacts in here. I won't show it for their protection, but I have all my contacts in there, phone numbers, emails, all that other stuff. I obviously have a dual role, so I do have some clients, but I have a lot of agents. So with this, though, if you build your client base, then you can create in marketing a social media planner. So I can post to all of my accounts in one spot. I can create calendars from here. I can develop email campaigns. I can see when people open their emails. I can see when they unsubscribe, which again hurts my feelings, but I get over it pretty quickly. See, already crying on the inside. But this is extremely helpful because if you want to create a marketing funnel, you can also create automation. So for those who are coming to the national event, they had a whole workflow go through. And what happened is so someone says, "Hey, I want to register." I say, "Great." So we go through the funnel. So welcome. I get a tag for that person because they responded. So it'll say Valor Retreat. So I can set up an email just for the tag people. Then the email goes to them automated. I created it already. I get a text message saying, "Hey, someone registered." And then a follow-up email goes to the people where it has the agenda and things like that. So this can get very robust. Typically, these range between, say, 97 to 100, $200 a month kind of thing. So it depends. Pick your poison. Our guys, they do brand creation and help you with stuff like that, and it's about 197 a month. But for me, it's invaluable because I can set up like I'll tell you guys right now. So tomorrow or Saturday morning, I send out an email. But then that same day, I will create a reminder that goes out Wednesday at 5 o'clock. And then usually I'll send up a text message that goes out, 30 minutes. I was late on this one, but 30 minutes before the weekly trainings. So I have the cadence set. I've already completed it, and now I don't have to think about it the rest of the week. So, what I'm going to do with that too, and this is a lesson for myself, is I'm going to do that in regards to the social media. I built out a whole social media calendar. Now it's just putting it in and grinding it out. I'll do it on a Saturday or a Sunday, and while the kids are off, reffing lacrosse, and I'll just plug it in. So there's things like
Awesome.
that.
Thank you.
Again, it's just getting you set up. Does that make sense?
Yes, thank you so much.
No problem. Any other questions? Good stuff. I'm gonna say yes because I know it's good stuff.
100%. Yes, thank you
Very
so
good.
much.
Absolutely.
All right, you've satiated my need for affirmation. So with that, I will say thank you guys. I appreciate the time. If I don't talk before the weekend, have a safe and happy Easter if you celebrate. If not, have a good weekend. But all things considered, thank you guys very much. We'll be back next week. And yes, Netra, I will send you this too. So, okay. You guys have a great one, all right?
Happy Easter to you.
See you guys.
Thank you. Have a great night.